Right, I've been thinking recently that thinking is the problem. Okay. You know how people don't have inner monologues? I, of course, have an inner monologue. But I think an inner monologue, for the most part, is a detriment. Like, if you think about it, ironically, if you think about it using your inner monologue, then you can only think in terms of the language you're thinking in, right? Why are my thoughts limited to the English language, the speed of the English language? So I'm doing an experiment to try and start thinking abstractly. Like, why do I need to ponder in English? Why am I limited by my language to think? You understand? You should. You're limited by your language. Maybe other languages are better to think in, but I'm limited with English because, you can't really think in Python, can you? And I only speak English. I wish I was bilingual, but, English education system just says go to Spain and talk slowly if you want to speak in another language. Although that being said, I could have easily learned another language myself in that time, but that's besides the point. Language seems to be a bad method of thought. At least that's what I'm having. So that's my thoughts there. I don't know how to do this. I can rotate apples in my mind and stuff, sacred geometry and all that. So maybe those sorts of meditating on some sacred geometry might be the way. I don't know if that's too esoteric, but maybe a bit of esoterica is what's needed to solve this issue, because you were thinking about thinking. I don't know how. Is this meta thinking? I don't know. Maybe this is what philosophers do. But philosophers use a lot of words and say nothing, right? Like, they pride themselves on being misunderstood. Just try and read Hegel. It's impossible. Anyway, thinking itself is probably not good anyway, because if you have an inner monologue, you want to think. My inner monologue is constantly going, and I wish it would be quiet. But I don't want to stop thinking. Obviously, stopping thinking is fine, you can practice that with mindfulness and meditation or what have you, but once you want to think, but you don't want to think with your monologue, You want to think quicker, more efficiently, more deeply than words alone can do. So, yeah, that's it. Now watch this drive.
A person who thinks all the time has nothing to think about except thoughts. So, he loses touch with reality.